Say no rap shit. Definitely ain't no cap shit, man. It's a whole lot of legal trap shit. Tell the people where we at today.
We at Burger M West End, located in the downtown area of Dallas, Texas, 1722 North Market Street, right on the corner of Market and Corbin.
Tell the people who you are for the ones that don't know who you are.
So what's going on, everybody? This is Wes Williams. I am the owner operator of Burger M West End, a boutique halal hamburger franchise, and as stated before, located in the West End area of Dallas, Texas.
All right, so tell the people just a little bit the backstory behind Wes. Who is Wes?
So originally from Detroit, Michigan, grew up on the west side, born and raised. I graduated from Martin Luther King High School, attended Oakland University in Rochester Hills, Michigan, graduated with my bachelor's in 2005, and then of course moved to Dallas in 2007 to actually become a Dallas firefighter, which to this day I'm still a 14-year veteran with the fire department. And through the fire department, that actually gave me a leeway to really learn the city, extremely quick. Dallas, backwards and forwards, like within a year. And it was also a good networking tool because I met a lot of great people on the department that were willing to kind of help me and kind of give me insight to the city and so forth. So, and then from there, kind of maneuvered into where we at to this day with the restaurant. And I guess you could say the journey with that was, what is it that I was essentially trying to do? And that was just kind of captivate as much time as I can. And so with that, of course, you have to have passive income, an aggressive form of passive income.
Right.
And so with that being said, with this franchise, I came across it through one of my captains who told one of my coworkers, who was actually my realtor at the time. And so he told me about it. And so, it sounded good, just the concept and everything. I went ahead and had a meeting with corporate, and of course, eventually signed the paperwork, and then I got the location.
So when you jumped into this, you didn't have no business experience?
So as far as restaurant wise, no, this is my first restaurant. This is my first bar. I just figured it out as I went. And, as far as like the capital aspect or the business aspect behind it, most of my capital came through real estate. And I did it the easy way. The houses that I would move into, eventually I would sell. And so, once upon a time when I was on the kind of like the nursing physician assistant route, I kind of took a step back and had to, reevaluate and figure out what it is that I really wanted to do. And the ultimate goal was just to have time. And now, of course, with the lifestyle that I wanted, of course, you got to have the passive income. And so 3 things that most, if not all, wealthy people have in common is real estate, stocks, and passive income. Some type of investment to where, the money is making money for you and you don't have to do anything. So with the real estate, when I started selling the houses, my first house I sold, I made a nice bag with that one. I was like, okay, yeah, mind you, this was probably the biggest amount that I ever made in the shortest period of time. So I was like, okay, yeah,
Let me ask you this, how long did it take you to get that money in the short?
My first house that I flipped, I think we had a contract in 10 days. And so essentially I was out of the house in a month. And so then simultaneously.
Were you doing wholesaling?
No, it was just
straight realtor.
Just straight realtor. That's it. So I moved in the house. I think I stayed in my first house about 4 years. And the market looked good at that time after 4 years. And I was like, all right, let me go ahead and get rid of it. So then from there, simultaneously, I bought another house. I didn't want to move back into an apartment, of course.
Right.
And now that was the house to where, like, it really put me over the top. I only stayed in this house for a year. That was it.
God.
And yeah, and I did some small improvements, like I built like some patio furniture in the back, just a new fresh coat of paint on the inside, but nothing major. But the market for that range of house was just great. And so after a year, same thing. I just looked at comps and seen that, all right, it's time to redo what I just did a year ago. Flip that one, the same thing. Even with that one, it was probably about maybe about a month I got rid of it. And so from that point, I went ahead and moved into an apartment and just said, I kind of just hang off on actually getting another house. I actually wanted an apartment building, which I still do. But at the time, price-wise, was a little bit out of my range. And so I just decided to held back on the next investment. And then, of course, like I said, one of my captains he came across this franchise and told, one of my coworkers that was my realtor, and then he told me about it because they were, going to do their own thing. And when I looked into it, it was just kind of cool. A lot of the things that a franchise is supposed to do in regards to like your rules and your regulations, they really weren't up on their business aspect. Now for me, it's a light bulb moment because it's like, all right,
out of chance to take advantage.
Yeah, so out of your chaos, I can find order. It is what it is. Business sharks to sharks. Right. So from that point, I was able to, I signed my contract, and the execution of my location was strictly solely on me. So I didn't go through the franchise to find this location, to negotiate the lease, nor to do the LOI letter, this was basically my team and my effort. So it was my contractor. I came across this location. My franchise attorney, he negotiated everything, the LOI letter, the lease. I did all the hiring. I do all the firing. It was my architect, financed it all on my end. The furniture, the equipment, the uniforms, everything, the artwork.
So they didn't give you nothing?
They gave me nothing. The only thing I did was pay for the name, and then that was it. And so contract-wise, they couldn't hold me to anything. And even to this day, I don't pay franchise fees. I have no relationship with corporate.
So you just got the name?
I just got the name. And, it works. It works. And, what I tell a lot of people is, you got to have a game plan before you execute. Even if it is a legitimate franchise and they have a model that's solidified,
right,
still have a mindset of how you want your location to operate and maneuver. And the sad part with this franchise is that a lot of people have lost a lot of money. People went into this concept thinking that it's a legitimate franchise and they have everything under control.
Nah, they were brand new.
Exactly. Yeah, there was brand.
I never heard of Burger IM, but I didn't never see as many until I came to yours, and after that, it's like I start seeing them here, there, everywhere.
Right. But now, a lot of closed. I think now in the Dallas Metroplex, I may be the only one still. I want to say the one that's out in Garland and Firewheel. They may still be open, but.
And they got, I think it's one still in town. It's one in Town East.
No, that one's closed.
It's closed?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I was just over there the other day. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's closed. So unless they reopened it, a lot of them are in, it's horror stories. But in the midst of that, my location, on the corner with it. I'm still.
Are you in a prime location?
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate that.
You saying horror stories as far as that. What are some of the negative things that you experienced, or some of the cons that you had when it came to opening this location?
I would say some of the cons is not everybody's gonna see your vision. So when you're dealing with employees or customers, sometimes, as an owner, you get the good and the bad. You're gonna get employees that are not hardworking or don't understand just a small concept of responsibility when it comes to your job and your title and your position. So sometimes the turnover rate may be a little bit high. And especially when it's your first time owning a restaurant, you're gonna go through the rigmarole of learning how your restaurant flows. Like during a rush lunch, how many employees do you need in the kitchen? How many do you need in the front? What happens if somebody doesn't show up? And maybe your manager, make sure your manager knows how to do everything. But maybe your manager's not there. So now what do you do? So now you have to be able to kind of get in there, troubleshoot. Maybe you got to get behind the register. Maybe you got to make a drink. Maybe you may have to jump in the kitchen,
Now, you say that you got to jump in the kitchen. Let me ask you this. You are a full-time firefighter too.
Correct.
How does that work?
That part, yeah.
How does that work? Like,
so
somebody call in, you got a shift at the firehouse.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So the one advice that I would give to anybody that's opening an establishment, your manager, if you get an A1 manager, your manager will take care of at least 75% of your headache. But a real good one. So I was fortunate enough to come across a young lady who's basically like my right hand now. Like when I'm not here
since day one.
Yeah, when I'm not here, she's here rocking and rolling, and we have a great relationship. So honestly, if she wasn't here, I would.
You think you would have went under?
Possibly. You know what I'm saying? Because, like you said, if I'm at the station and maybe the manager's off or you know, the manager is not, you know, that responsible, what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm saying? I can't just leave in the midst of, you know what I'm saying, come down here and work for a few. Nah, I'm on shift. So, you know, that's where the organization part, the vetting part when it comes to your employees has to come in. And so out of everybody, your manager, make sure you take care of your manager and that your manager understands your passion or is on the same page as you. Now with the rest of the employees, it's gonna be trial and error. It is what it is. And ultimately, it's really the owner's or the manager's responsibility. Like if you have a bad employee, well, you picked this employee.
Right.
So that's on you. So now you got to just fine tune your skills in regards to the people that you're hiring. And it's nothing wrong, or it doesn't mean that you're a bad owner or bad business owner if you got some bad employees. I mean, it happens. It comes with the ball game. But you know, that's one of the cons. Is just, I mean, it's people. People are unpredictable. You know what I'm saying? So you have to, you know, I say have the patience of a sniper. You know, don't act on emotions, you know, move on principles, especially when it comes to money, you know, because money respects principles, not emotions, you know. So just understanding people and just knowing that your employees may not be on the same page as you. Right. And I like to treat every day as that November 1st. My soft opening was that October 31st, or I think that was that Halloween.
Right.
But that November 1st was my first like official day, like being open, lunch rush. And I mean, when I tell you the inside was just jam packed and it was pandemonium. I mean, literally I was sitting at the edge of the bar, like ticket times was backed up. I had a bunch of employees in the kitchen, like, and finally I just had to say, look, we got to refund half of these people. We got to shut down for 2 hours. We got to figure this out. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
It was that crazy, but I appreciate that because it was a humbling experience. And I never want to experience or feel how I felt that November 1st, that first lunch rush.
Did it make you want to give up?
Didn't make me want to give up. It made me want to, you know what I'm saying, lock down on my skills a lot more. And I think for me, I always said or always felt, as well as individuals that I've reached out to for advice, you know, when I tell them my story and they see the location and they take a step back, they say, you know, the things that you want or the customer base that you want is going to come faster than you expect. Just given what you got going, so be ready for it. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm ready.
Thought you was ready.
But then when it hits, I'm like, nah, they was right. Like, you know, like people came. You know what I'm saying? So after that November 1st, I treat every day like it's day one. Every day is like November 1st. So every time I come in here, like as much as my employees work, I work. I'm wiping toilets, I'm wiping tables, I'm getting doors, I'm getting trays, I'm taking out garbage. I'm hands-on with the work, especially on your first one. Like you can't afford to be lackadaisy. So on your first investment, especially when you're trying to learn the craft, you gotta be hands-on with the work. You have to, you gotta know it inside and out. And it doesn't happen overnight. You know, it's gonna be a process. You're gonna trim off the fat and get strictly down to the protein of the situation. And that's the cool part with this is, for me, like I know how the kitchen can flow when it's jam-packed. I know I only need one bartender really in the front. An experienced bartender can handle this whole restaurant, even if it's just packed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I know what my demographic is gonna look like between a Monday and a Friday. I know what my Saturdays and my Sundays, you know, my Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is gonna look like. I know what a good ticket day is. I know what a bad ticket day is. I know a good money day. I know what my main demographics is, my 1 mile in every direction, you know what I'm saying? What time is a lunch for the majority of the businesses around in this area? Relationship with all of the businesses, what residential, your apartments, townhomes are in the area, you know what I'm saying? Who's a regular that, you know, comes to my location, you know? So all these things you gotta, you know, you gotta take into consideration and really consider, you know?
Right,
so.
right. And let me ask, so what type of culture when it comes to like employees and the establishment are you building?
For me, I call the energy of my location a forever kickback. You know what I'm saying? It's not the club. Respect to the club, but that's not what I'm selling. You know, I want the atmosphere to be just a real cool, calm, collect type vibe where anybody can come. Now, when you walk in, you can see that, okay, if you really just pay attention to like music, artwork, and just the energy, you're like, okay, possibly a brother owns this spot. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, for sure.
But you know, for Black culture, a lot of times, like, we don't have the luxury of really just saying, oh, I just want to target towards, you know, strictly, you know what I'm saying, like my own people. Because in my eyes, you're leaving money on the table.
A lot of money on the table.
A lot of money. And so with that being said, I want it to be a neutral setting to where anybody could come here and catch a vibe. So when it comes to my employees and like my staff, like, they have to understand that as well. You know, you're gonna have a different degree of customer, different demographics, people from all walks, different cultures. And so you have to be able to understand and, you know, relate, as well as, you know, be comfortable with, you know, people from all walks of life. So I don't care if you Black, white, young, old, gay, straight, in town, out of town. My location and my restaurant is for everybody, you know. And if you're coming here and you're saying, hey, I want to have a drink and some food, like, who am I to sit here and say, no, I don't want to accept your money? You know what I'm saying? Especially when you walk through my door and you show them respect. And I mean, let's be honest, you can get a good hamburger anywhere. There's a lot of good burger spots, but you're not gonna catch your energy or a wave or a memory at every spot that you go to. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I provide. And so I tell people, you know, if you're just in the business of selling a product, well, you're gonna fail. But if you're in the business of selling the experience, a vibe, or energy, then yeah, you're gonna succeed. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all people want. You know, they want an experience. They want something that's gonna be a memorable moment that's gonna last. And so, like, all of these ideologies, like, everybody that's working for you, they have to buy into that.
No, for
so
sure.
I'm big on customer service, extremely big. So things like words like thank you and I appreciate you and you need anything else, and let me get that. And actions, picking up trash. You finish eating, yeah, okay, you may have left some cups on the table and you leave. Hey, I'm cool with that. You did your part. You came to eat.
Tonight I can't use picking up trash.
Yeah, I got the rest of this. Yeah. You did what you were supposed to do. You came, had a good time. So I'm gonna take care of this. So, like, all those things, you know, that's what I'm selling. That vibe and that experience, and simultaneously make sure that your employees and people that are on your team, they buy into that idea. You know, so.
Let me ask you this: How are you able to grow your audience and your customers and stuff like that?
Really, social media and word of mouth. Social media and word of mouth have been extremely big for me, and it doesn't happen overnight. Like I said, every day was November 1st. So when there's an event, like, I'm posting, I'm reaching out to people. The saying, your net worth is your network.
Nah, most definitely.
I'm big on, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't miss an opportunity to talk to somebody. Because in my eyes, like I said, I'm not special. I'm not doing anything groundbreaking, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's my humble approach and my ideology. Like, I'm nobody's favorite, you know what I'm saying? I'm just doing what I feel organically I want to do. It's just cool that other people gravitate toward it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if somebody says, hey, you know, I want to, you know, kind of get some advice from you, or, you know, can you tell me whoop-de-woo, or, you know, how did you? So if somebody takes time out and want to actually hear what I have to say, yeah, I can't miss that opportunity, and I appreciate that. So yeah, we gonna talk. You know what I'm saying? We gonna talk as long as you want to talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so by doing that, you know, when you put out good energy, people speak about you.
Right.
People speak about you in circles and rooms that you are unaware of. And that goes on, that transfer of energy, you know what I'm saying? And so that, between that, you know, that word of mouth and just, of course, like I said, social media, like heavy social media presence, always posting, always tagging, reaching out to people that have followers. You know, there's a lot of people that are influencers or just have a big following.
Right.
And so, you know, it's the art of tapping into the wants and the desires of a consumer, you know? So I know if this person's audience is bigger than mine, you know, I don't have any problems reaching out to say, hey, you know, if it's cool if you will repost, or, you know, if you come, you know, saying that whole customer service thing to where, you know, you take care of people that are willing to, you know, put your platform on a bigger on a bigger stage.
Right.
You know, so the social media and the word of mouth has been enormous for, you know, the success for my location.
Okay. So what are some of the pros of being, I guess, your own boss to a certain extent?
Well, the pros is, you know, if you're handling the business correctly, you know, your investment or, you know, let's say your restaurant or, you know, your business, you know, it can transform into a system, you know, whereas, you know, you have one location and, you know, initially it's kind of starting off, you're working in the location, you know, it's still kind of like you're working a job, you know what I'm saying? But then once it gets down to a system to where you don't have to be here all the time, or, you know, you can be gone for maybe a day or two and it's still flowing.
Right, it runs itself.
Then you're leveraging your time, and now you might get a second location. And then, you know, eventually you get a third and a fourth. Now at that point, you know, your portfolio has grown, and now you can literally turn your portfolio into a system to where there's a hierarchy. Okay, you run the show, but then you may have a district manager that basically controls all your, you know, your managers, you know what I'm saying, your location managers.
Right.
And so if the problem isn't over a certain dollar amount, you handle it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your responsibility. And same thing, that trickles down to those managers. Like, if this situation isn't over or isn't this level, if, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You handle it. Now, if it gets to a certain point, then you call me and I'll take care of it. And then at that point, if that person can't take care of it, then he'll call the boss, and then that'll be me. So that's the cool part. Like, you can really transform your portfolio into a system to where, I mean, on a Tuesday, you on a yacht somewhere eating fruit. You know what I'm saying? Relaxing, and the money is going. You know what I'm saying? But you have to set it up, and you have to set that culture before you get to that point. You know, at the basic level. And so that's the cool part. And of course, like I said, you are your own boss. You're not punching the clock. You're not answering to nobody. I mean, like I said, ultimately the goal wasn't to do labor in life. Like, I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't my goal to work. You know, I want to have it to the point to where my money and work smart, not hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, those aspects play a factor in my life. You know, so that's the pros of it.
Right. Mm-hmm. So do you think for the people that's trying to be an entrepreneur but still working a 9 to 5, as we see, it's possible to do?
Yeah, it is.
But can any and everybody do it?
To a degree, yes, and to a degree, no. You know, some people, like, if you don't have that, you know, that internal fire or that desire for the jungle in you, there's nothing wrong with having a job. And what I mean by jungle, a 9 to 5, a job is more like the zoo. It's control. You know, when you eat, it looks like the jungle. I see trees and, you know, I see some people looking at me. I get fed maybe 3 times, you know what I'm saying? But it's still the zoo. It's a controlled environment. The jungle is, you know what I'm saying? It's feast or famish. If you can't swim, you know, you're going to drown.
Right.
And it's like I tell people, even if I couldn't swim, I learned how to breathe underwater. I mean, you gotta adapt. Like, the weather's gonna change on you. You know, the meal might be in front of you. You may have to go hunt it down. You're gonna come into obstacles. You know, it's just, you know, if those types of things kind of rattles you, or you're not accustomed to dealing with that type of pressure, because you're gonna have some lows and you're gonna have some moments to where it's gonna get extremely, extremely dark. You know, then this may not be the world for you, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Because there's nothing wrong with having a job. It's all about what it is that you want to do, and, you know, what's your desires. Like, you know, what's your why and why you're doing this. But if it is in you, you know, get yourself prepared mentally, as well as, you know, do your research on the actual, you know, endeavor that you're trying to do, and, you know, start planning. You know, you make sure your support system is lined up. Make sure that financially, you know, you got everything in order. Make sure that, you know, there's always an exit strategy, you know, always a plan A, B, and C, you know what I'm saying? And then once you get everything in place and it's lined up, then it's the part to where you got to jump out the window.
Just got to jump.
And I tell people a lot of times, sometimes you have to jump out the window with the parachute in your hand and figure it out on the free fall.
much.
Like, because a lot of
Still.
times, we're our own worst hindrance. Like we've done the research, we know the field, we know what to do, but fear is real, and sometimes fear can be a crutch and it can hold you back. But I mean, you just got to jump. I mean, I'm not gonna say like it's not scary or anything, because it is, but it's healthy fear, it's healthy anxiety. It keeps you on your toes. Like, you're never comfortable, and things are going to change. You know what I'm saying? Things that you normally would do, you may not be going out as much. You know what I'm saying? You may not have as much money as you normally had, because now you got expenses and bills. So some luxuries, they will get cut. Even some people that you hang with, you know what I'm saying? You got to hang with people that match your future and not your history. So you'll find that some people may not have the same vision or may not understand what you're doing, and it is what it is. And what I tell people is, if your reputation and who you are as a person is solidified and people know you solid, like, you're gonna make mistakes. It is what it is.
Right.
But if you make a mistake and you apologize behind it, and yourself is a solid individual, and everybody knows that, and you apologize and you rectify the situation, and for whatever reason it still leaves a bad taste in somebody's mouth, go to sleep at night. Don't lose no sleep over it, you know what I'm saying? Because it is what it is. So these are all the things that you have to prepare yourself for. But if this doesn't rattle you, then yeah, this is the world for you. You know what I'm saying? But if it does, yeah, 9 to 5 is definitely a better option, a respectable option, you know what I'm saying, for that person.
Right. All right. So what advice can you give to the upcoming entrepreneurs, current entrepreneurs, and people that's looking to jump in this entrepreneurship lane?
I would say, essentially, understand that you can't do it by yourself. All right. Be humble enough to ask questions and to reach out to people, and sometimes people will help you, sometimes they won't. It is what it is. But, be extremely aggressive in what you want to do and direct. But in the same token, always keep a very humble approach to, your demeanor, as well as to, what I'm saying, the audience that you're trying to attract. Make sure your finances are in order. Understand that it's going to take money, and for Black culture, the capital raising phase for us is very significant. So that's why I say always make sure that your energy and your demeanor and just how you carry yourself is A1, because you may need some help. And so when you put out that SOS, you want people to come to your aid and be like, hey, I know Money, he's a nice dude, or she's a nice young lady, well respectable, she needs some help, or he needs some help, I'm gonna look out for him. And if you do have a job, I would say don't just quit your job immediately. Like, I know it's like I said, it looks good, when you can just quit, jump in your field and make a bunch of money, but a lot of times that's not the case, which is why I'm still working as a firefighter. Be smart and strategic with how you maneuver. And once you get to a certain dollar amount, or once the business gets to a point to where it can sustain your lifestyle that you're living, then, if you decide to walk away, you can.
Let me ask you this, though. Do you plan on walking away
Yes.
from the fire department?
Yes.
Soon?
Hopefully soon. I mean, it was a yes before you even finished that question, you know what I'm saying? And respect to the career, the fire department, because I wouldn't have been able to do this with a regular 9 to 5 schedule. I only work 10 days a month. So if I had a regular 9 to 5, I wouldn't have been able to maneuver with this. But I know to get to that next level, that next chapter, to go through that next door that I'm headed towards, I have to close this door, and I have to walk away from the fire department. Like, I wouldn't be able to do both. And that's just kind of for a business aspect as well as just a personal aspect. Like, I have to be knee deep in the jungle to the point to where I can't see a zoo, where I you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be out there amongst other wild animals, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, it's a certain energy, it's a certain blood that pumps through your veins when you're in that world. But a lot of people don't understand the things that they've gone through or what created them to get to this point, And so, outside of maybe the ones whose attitudes or personalities may be a little questionable, I mean, for the most part, just that confidence and just that energy that they may possess, you know, they probably already had it. It's just now magnified on a higher level because of what they've been through becoming an entrepreneur. So I get it, I understand it, and I respect it, you know. And so that same energy I want as well. And like I said, if the certain things that come with this world, if that's what, you know what I'm saying, that rattles you, then, you know, being an entrepreneur may not be the situation for you. But like I said, if you're able to, you know, sustain and understand that it's going to be bad days, it's going to be good days, then yeah, this is the world for you, you know. And it's going to build character, and at the end of the day, it's going to make for a better story when you sitting down and you talking to somebody.
Right. So what's the long-term goal for you with Burger Eye? You know, what's your long-term goal?
The long-term goal essentially is really to have more investments, a very big portfolio with different investments under that, and that all falls under the umbrella of having time. I just want time to do whatever it is that I want to do. You know.
Makes sense.
So.
All right, man. Y'all heard it here first from Wes, man. Burger M. Tell them the location one more time.
So once again, Burger M West End, located in the West End area of downtown Dallas, Texas, 1722 North Market Street, Dallas, Texas, on the corner of Market and Corbin. So
you can't miss it. You can't miss it. Hey, man, this ain't no rap shit. Definitely ain't no cap shit, man. Y'all heard it first from Wes, man, with a whole lot of legal trap shit.